Now, here's Michael Smerconish.
Hey, let's play Jeopardy! Daniel Snyder, Michael Jackson, Alex Rodriguez, Meek Mill, Sean Hannity, Don Imus, Kimberly Guilfoyle have all been represented by the same attorney at one time. Answer, who is Joseph Tacopina? He's a nationally renowned New York-based trial attorney, and he joins me now. Hey, Joe, welcome back. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Michael. Nice to be there. Nice to be with you again.
I'd almost like to get jammed up just to make your list.
That's okay. You've got to add President Trump to that list now. So,
what do you make of the charges in the Memphis case? When you, as a trial attorney, as a defense attorney, hear what they've been charged with, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I can't for the life of me understand how this could happen. I just can't. Look, I was in law enforcement. I was a prosecutor. I've represented police officers, and I, for the most part, respect them so much because, you know, when you and I go to work every day, Michael, we hope we have a good day at work. When a police officer goes to work every day, they hope they come home. So it's hard to walk in those shoes. But on the other hand, when you're entrusted with that kind of power and that kind of responsibility to abuse it the way it appears has happened in Memphis, it's mind-boggling, and it's sad. It's sad for the family of the Nichols kid. It's sad for the good police officers who are out there who are now going to have to, again, regain trust in the community. Look, we haven't seen the tape yet. That's coming out today. But from all accounts, that tape is going to be devastating. It's going to show a prolonged, brutal attack and an unnecessary use of force to a different degree. They're likening it to Rodney King. And if that's the case, boy, are we in for a real shock today.
Well, I get that the police chief, who has been in the media, Don Lemon has interviewed her. Literally, as I'm speaking to you, CNN is showing on a loop an interview that he did with the police chief. She says that that this was heinous. I get that she's trying to sort of temper the community because we know it's bad, and that's why they've been charged with murder. On the other hand, put on your defense lawyer hat. Is the jury pool being poisoned? Could these five ever get a fair trial?
Look, we haven't seen the tape yet, and there's no chance these guys will ever get a fair trial. I mean, and that's the sad part about this. And I say that because an investigation like this normally takes months and months and months. I've been involved in a lot of these police cases of excessive force. It takes months. I mean, within a week, they were administratively discharged. They were fired and indicted and charged with second-degree murder and other associated charges, including kidnapping. I mean, it seemed to be swift. Look, and I think swift justice was what I think the community felt, the leaders of that community in Memphis felt they needed to show the community that they're taking this seriously and doing what they need to do. But I just don't think there's anyone here who's saying, oh, come on, I'm sure this kid did something. Look, one thing the district attorney has said is they don't know what precipitated the rise, the escalation of the events, or what caused the initial confrontation, you know, the interaction. And I guess that remains to be seen. I mean, I'm going to be interested in seeing what their defense is. But again, if there is a video of 5 police officers taking turns pummeling a defenseless person, there's no defense to it. There's no defense. There's no reasonable force defense that can be used. It's just, and what really baffles me, Michael, they had cameras that they knew were on their bodies and filming this. That's what's the most.
So what does that mean? That they're just their emotion. They were just out of control emotionally. That they couldn't rein it in. Maybe. But Joe Tacopina would probably say to a jury, "Look, they knew what they were doing. It was being filmed. All the more reason they had nothing to hide." I don't know.
Michael, that's funny because when I was trying to think how I would defend them, that's the first thing that came to my mind. The first thing that came to my mind is, of course, they knew you were going to see this. They recorded it. They could have shut those cameras off.
Right.
They recorded it. So, of course, but there was justification in what they did. That's the only thing they could argue. I mean, the only thing. And then, of course, there are 5 of them. So what I expect is going to happen is there's going to be some perhaps more culpable than the others, and perhaps the ones that are less culpable or the background figures are going to be like, hey, he did it. I had nothing to do with it. And, you know, they start pointing fingers at each other. But this is a tragedy. And, you know, it's just we just did not need another one of these in this country.
Again,
we just didn't.
Again, recognizing that Joe Tacopina, like the rest of us, has not yet seen the video, are you surprised by a kidnapping charge?
Yeah, I am surprised by a kidnapping charge. I mean, come on. If you believe this kid was killed by the police improperly, if you believe they committed second-degree murder, leave it at that. Kidnapping, basically what that means is that at some point they weren't justified in holding him and detaining him. That kidnapping charge is really not meant for police who are making a lawful stop. I mean, I haven't heard anyone say that the initial stop was unlawful. So at some point, if it became unlawful to detain him. I mean, I think kidnapping is a stretch. And by the way, I think that's the least of these officers' problems is kidnapping. I think they'd all take guilty pleas to kidnapping charge right now.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised by second degree? Charge. Are you surprised again, without seeing it, with second degree murder being charged? Is it possible they were overcharged in an effort to try and keep the peace in the community?
Yes, that's always a possibility. In high-profile cases, Michael, we see this time and again where prosecutors overcharge to either satisfy the whim of demand for justice by lay people who don't know the evidence, or to overcharge knowing that they'll settle for the lesser charge and at least they'll get something. And I hate when that happens. I mean, to me, it's an abuse of prosecutorial discretion. And I am not saying that's the case here. I don't know what happened here. These guys may very well be guilty of second-degree murder. I think the tape. But look, here's all I'm saying. And you said this actually a few times. We can be outraged that a young boy was killed at the hands of 5 police officers, apparently an unarmed young boy, by the way. But let's just wait and see. There's going to be plenty of time for justice to prevail. But let's not jump to conclusions before having all the evidence before us. One, the tape, which apparently is going to be horrific. And also, let's see what their story is. Let's see what the officer's story is. Something had to happen here.
Something had to happen.
Unless they were just 5 rogues who were wearing badges that shouldn't have been wearing badges.
Hey, Joe, in very simple lay terms, what needs to be shown for second-degree murder?
That they knew they were killing him. That they knew. Not a premeditated. First degree would be premeditated, meaning they stopped him with the intent to kill him.
Right.
Second degree is that they knew they were killing him, that they knew that their actions were going to take his life.
And you would expect in a police excessive force case, you would usually see what in lieu of second degree?
A manslaughter charge where it's excessive force. There was no intent to kill. Any time was there no intent to kill? Not a premeditated, not even in the moment intent to kill. And then something along those lines where cops use excessive force, but second degree murder is they're saying these cops knew that they were killing this kid.
They meant to kill him. They hadn't planned it in advance.
Right. Exactly.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
All right. Go back to your celebrity clients.
All right, I'm waiting for you, Michael. You're next up. Come on.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Joe, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Okay,
there you go.
Brother. Thank you, Michael.
One of America's most best-known trial attorneys with 100 cases under his belt that he's tried successfully. You've just heard his analysis. Typically, you would expect this to be a manslaughter case, an excessive force, case leading to manslaughter, not a second-degree murder case, which is distinguished from first degree, which is premeditated.